do it.
All right, guys, welcome to a brand new venture for the Keefer brothers here and JB. Welcome to the first ever episode of what we're calling Wilder Minds.
The Wilder Minds podcast. It's finally here.
It is. It's an exciting time. I think there's a couple things I want to get out of the way first before we get into the good stuff. I think one of the things that we want to start with is just filling everybody in, who we are, what Wilder Minds is, what they can expect, just all the good stuff, and then let's get into the actual content. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think that, we've been kind of doing some things separated for a while as far as the audio podcasting thing, and that's nice to just bring the power of it together because that's what it is. Yeah. We're literally Wilder Minds. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to us three, a lot of people think that we have a lot of time to sit down and chit-chat all week. But we are running in different places all the time. So for us to sit down for an hour and catch up, it's really the 15 minutes before we roll, the 15 minutes after it's done. That's what I'm looking forward to. We just sat down here. It's our first one, so we have 45 minutes basically of getting mics set, getting all the things dialed in. But in that 45 minutes, we had the podcast. Now we're actually officially starting.
Yeah, now we hit record, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's cover off on Wilder Minds first. Like, why Wilder Minds? What do you guys think? I know I've got my thoughts, but why Wilder Minds?
Well, it was interesting. So, you go through this naming process for a long time, and the first time you said Wilder Minds to me, I immediately went to, okay, like one, I take the word wilder, for example, like we're wild, right? We love the wild places this is what resonated for me anyway, the wild places. And then just our collective minds, what we can share with our audience from the learnings that we've done, whether that be in the woods or out in Alaska or whatever. But then there was kind of a tip of the cap in there, and I don't know if it was meant to be, but it was a little tip of the cap for Mumford.
Yeah, that's where I went.
Yeah, so I started to think about Mumford, and we can explain why, but immediately I was like, that makes sense, for me.
Yeah, for me, I went to a gravel bar in a tent. Yeah. That's the first place I went to when I heard Wilder Minds. I mean, that music played such an important role for us. It always really has. It inspired us in everything that we do. But that first, the first time we were ever wild in the middle of the Brooks Range, that Mumford album, that first one they dropped, it was kind of like the soundtrack to that season for us. And that's where, of course, we were in the wildest place we'd ever been to that point in our lives. So, yeah, I think it all just resonated. When it's kind of like when the Rusted Rooster name hit the first time, you're like, yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Wilder Minds, no question.
It's amazing how when you go through, and I come in from like the brand aspect and how I look at stuff, when you settle on a name, it opens up a great big world. And so as I kind of went through just thinking about what we could do with this thing, it resonated with me for all of those very same reasons, the wild side of things, where we were, tip of the cap, the whole thing there. And then also it left the future open on where we can go and what we can do. And I think that's really one of the things I'm the most excited about, because what I don't want this to be, and you guys give me your thoughts, I don't want this to be a run-of-the-mill hunting podcast where we just kind of sit down and cover off on tips and tactics. Like, I don't think I want raw conversation. Yeah. I want
no boxes.
I don't want a box. I want this thing to be able to go anywhere and everywhere we want it to go, and have it make sense. And so that Wilder Minds, I literally want us to have wild minds while we're doing this. We're incurably curious people. I know I am myself. I want that to kind of come through in the show.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think, our industry as a whole is always research and duplicate, right? And there's a lot of great podcasts out there talking about tips and tactics, and that's great. And those are meant for that. I think for us, it was about, let's take the 20 plus years that we've been in this industry and the things that we've been able to accomplish in this industry. Let's talk about it. Let's share all the fun adventures, because we've been blessed to go a lot of places and do some crazy shit. And every time we go somewhere, we end up telling all these stories because people are asking us, what about this? What about that? And it was like, all right, I think it's time. It's time to just sit down and tell stories. And that we're all storytellers at heart. That's how we've made a career.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, let's do that. But let's take the braces off a little bit. Let's have some fun with it, and to me, that's what I'm the most excited about.
Yeah, I think tips and tactics, we'll talk about them, 100%. We'll talk about all the things. But I think we'll also talk about our lives, pop culture, sports. I mean, all the things that we're interested in, all the things that make us individually who we are.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're going to talk about it. I know the stuff that, like, for me, when we come in the mornings on a Monday, and the weekend has happened, and a lot of things have happened in sports, or we've been somewhere, or we went somewhere for a trade show, or whatever it might be. That's the stuff we talk about in our offices in the mornings. That's what this is.
Yep.
It's us catching up,
Yeah.
really. But also, going to those places, those wild places, again, revisiting those stories.
I want it to be an open conversation with the listener.
Yep.
To steal a Jason Bateman term, listener. I want it to be an open conversation. I want to cover anything and everything we feel like talking about.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the exciting things for me. So that being said, there's going to be a lot of people that are listening to this for the first time that may have absolutely no fucking clue who we are. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and tell them who we are.
Yeah. Let's start.
What we've done.
Let's start. Before we do that, can we crack this Busch Light and have a cheers to the first episode? Can we do that?
It's almost gone.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're listening, we want you to feel like you're listening to a nice little fun happy hour conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Cold.
fellas,
Cheers, boys.
That's cold. Here goes my laptop.
There goes your laptop. Cheers. Little Busch Light. If you're out there, grab a Busch Latte, sit back, relax, and let's get her started. Mm-hmm.
Don't swallow your liquid by the mic, because that drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I want to kill you. If I
All right,
just so you know, I'm one of those guys.
Yeah.
I can't hear like chewing and swallowing. So
AMSR or ASMR is not your thing.
That's what it is. I don't like
All
it.
right. So let's get back into who we are. Let's get where we came from, what people can expect from us as individuals, because all three of us have completely different things that actually mold perfectly together.
Sure. Who wants to start?
Not me.
I guess I'll start.
JB can
I'm the
do it.
oldest.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
you're the
Old head.
oldest.
Am I the oldest?
You're the senior.
Man, old.
You are. The grayest. Anyway.
It is. I try to keep it tight
I
now.
got a streak
I can't grow a beard anymore. It's too gray. Look like a skunk.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So really what it comes down to is we found each other 2006, basically, I think what it was.
Yeah.
But before that, I grew up in a small town just north of here. I'm not too far from where I was born. And for me, it's I've always loved the outdoors. I've loved sports. I've loved my family. And I like the small town lifestyle. That kind of shaped, I think, a lot of my values. And then growing up, the story became something that was super important to me. I didn't realize it at the time, but I found myself in the aisles of the local party store renting out hunting videos. I'm like, wow. I mean, renting them out.
Yeah.
The old days where you'd walk in there and if the rubber band was on it, you're pissed off because somebody rented out that Dan Fitzgerald film.
Yeah.
That on the VHS tape. So
Yeah.
I really found myself in that world and wanting to figure out how I could do it. How I could make that happen for myself, and just picked up my mom and dad's camera. And I mean, I'm not going to get extremely detailed about it because it's a long story. I'm old, and we've been doing this for a long time. But what it turned into was I realized there was a way to be able to make that camera a living. That camera can make a living for me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it turned into in college. Got a degree in broadcast journalism from Central Michigan. Played baseball a little bit along the way, and then started my business right in college. Did a lot of weddings, a lot of corporate stuff, but along the way I picked up some outdoor gigs. Produced an outdoor channel show in 2000, and 25 years later, how many hundreds of episodes have we done?
Yeah.
Television episodes, brand campaigns, and then we met along the way. And we'll get into that story. But what hasn't changed in 25 years is that I absolutely love to tell stories, and I like to make impact with the stories and see how it creates emotion for the audience in any way, whether it's a written word piece, whether it's photos, whether it's video, whether it's a brand story that we do for a client, or whether it's our own stuff that we go out there and we bring back home and package up this crazy cool story, put visuals and music to it, and it goes out to millions of people. I mean, that's always been what drives me. And I think to find two other dudes that randomly appeared in my life by chance, I'd count my blessings every day, every single day. So
It's been a wild ride since the day that we actually got together for the first time. It's been kind of a tiger by the tail forever, but you're a storyteller extraordinaire. I think that sums it up. And that's what I love about working with Jay is he's always looking for the angle of what's the story here? How do I show this? How do I visually bring that to life? And it's been a pleasure to be part of it for however long we've been doing this now.
Long time. I think it's funny that one time when we started working together, Jay goes, "Do you know what B-roll means?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Good, because you have none." He's like, "You got to figure this shit out. I got to show you guys what B-roll is, because you guys might have something. If I can show you what to do with this camera, we might have something."
Yeah. It was an incredible story.
And that was it.
Yeah, it was your caribou hunt, the first one.
Yeah.
I remember going through all that footage. There was so much great footage of the hunt, but there wasn't any supporting footage. And at that point, we never looked back.
Right. No, we never did.
Which, by the way, I will save this for another episode, but that caribou hunt has an unbelievable... I just came across that boat that we caribou hunted on.
Oh, yeah, there's the story. Casey called me to tell me this.
This is
it still on the water?
No.
Technically.
Technically, it's
in
the water. Not on the water.
Yeah.
Dude, it's unbelievable. I haven't even filled you in yet.
Yeah.
It's ripe for... It's going to be its own little
It's going to be its own whole episode.
It is
I didn't know about this.
The story...
The crab boat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the name of that boat?
It started
Depends
off...
on what time you said.
It started off as the Shaman. We'll just leave it at that because the story is wild and crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I can't wait to get into that.
Yeah, you're going to love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Quick highlights. It changed its name. It became Home to Strippers, and they sunk it.
yeah.
Home to strippers, meaning they lived on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And operated on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then
A brothel
it got
on the water.
And then
Yeah.
it got sabotaged and
Sunk.
to the 6,000 feet to the bottom of the ocean.
Is this in Alaska?
Yes.
Yeah.
When are we going to go visit this thing?
It's the story is
Okay.
it's for another episode, but we'll get there.
Oh, man,
So there
I
you
like
go. There's some of the shit you
Brothel
can
at
expect
sea.
with
Brothel at
Wilder
sea.
I'm
Mind.
glad we caught up.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, right. It's unreal. Cool. All right. Well, I think you want to go next. You want me to
Go ahead.
Fire away.
Fire away.
So I just made a little list here of stuff that we've done that I think is kind of interesting, that just gives people a little insight into who we are. So entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
executive producers, hosts, authors, speakers, athletes, coaches, fathers, husbands, expedition hunters, land managers, habitats, archers, fly fishermen, adventure guides, historians. The list goes on and on and on. I think if there's one common theme through everything that I've ever done in my own life, it's that I'm just seeking cool shit. I'm seeking epic adventure. I'm always trying to figure out, how do I outdo my last adventure with the next one. And I love doing that in the wildest places on earth. I love uncovering the story. I love sharing that with people. And I love history, like tying all those things together and just being infinitely curious about what that's like is kind of, I guess, me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So those are some roles that I've had.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of that applies for you too.
Yeah, I mean, so as brothers, we've grown up together, obviously, our whole lives in Pittsburgh, and it's now turned into this through all of those things, right? I think our kind of future was set when our grandfather first said, like, you need to use this BB gun and shoot this first squirrel for me, right? And then it was like, wow, what's going on? And then the outdoors, and then it kind of spiraled. But I think for me, along the way, I just kind of hit a place in my career, in my life, where I'm embracing the journey. I have like this crazy knack of just, it's the chaos and the chase and the journey for me that I just love. And you look back at, all the businesses we've started, all the deals that we've done, all the things that we've been a part of. And I just go back and, the other day I was talking to my daughter, and she was asking me a question about something from school. And I just nonchalantly said, well, one time, your uncle and I were in Ecuador, and we were in this jungle, and we were talking, and she was like, who says that? And I was like, yeah, but I did. I was in a jungle in Ecuador, and I was looking for a giant. And she's like, what do you mean? And so it's like, it comes back in context sometimes when you think about all the things that we've done, right? So now, for me, it's just embracing this next journey and just really being open about it. We've done a lot of things, and I think we're not public about a lot of these things either. Like there's the there's the dropped version of us that a lot of people know. And then there's another side of us.
Social media version.
The social media version, right? Where you're
is.
talking about it. But I think there's just so many things in 20 plus years, and they're just, there's a lot of really cool journeys in there. So I think for me, I'm on the ride, and I've learned from the ride. I've got my ass kicked by the ride. I've been happy. I've cried. I've been sad. You name all the things. And I guess for me, it's just the chase. Like, I'm super excited about what's next, and just going in with a positive attitude of just like continually raising the bar. And I think the three of us will set out to do something, and we never reach the goal, because the minute we realize we're going to hit the goal, we change the goal.
Yep.
And so I think that's always been how we've done it, right? Is like, well, let's get this done. And as soon as we do that, well, we realize we're going to hit that goal, and then we up it again. We up it again. And I think that's what I've loved about this trio here, is no matter what happens in the middle and how many directions we go with our day, to get the three of us to get back together and sit on this couch, and the stories and the things that we've been through as the three of us, the highs and the lows, like that to me is exciting. And every week I'm going to come in here like ready to talk about it, because that's what gets me going. So just that journey. And I've been fortunate enough to go on 95% of that journey with both of you, 98% of that journey with both of you. Yeah. And so I think that's exciting that we get to share that. So
it's funny because that almost answers my why now question.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I literally have in here, I want to talk about why now.
Yeah.
Because for me, why now comes down to, I feel like I find, and I don't think this is unique to me. I think there's a lot of people out there like this right now, especially my age. I'm 41. I'm unlocking another phase. I've got a son who's now a teenager. You guys obviously have teenagers. Mm-hmm. I've got a son who's now a teenager. And I feel like I'm just entering this whole different world that I didn't see coming. And I'm kind of like, all right, maybe this is a little bit of a wake up call for the next phase, and what that's going to be like, and how that's going to go, and how it's going to take place. I mean, I'm 41. I've got a teenager. I've got a 9-year-old. I've been married to my wife for damn near 20 years now. And I feel like the last few years has just been uncertain, to say the least, for a ton of people out there.
Yep.
But now I feel like there's some sort of roadmap for what this next phase of my journey is going to look like. And I feel like I want to help unlock that through this show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just by looking back at our past, what we've done, but also looking ahead to the future, because let's face it, you guys are fucking older now. Right?
I think to the old point, I think you guys will get there.
He's close to death.
You're getting there. I think for me, it's giving back. That's the phase I'm in right now. It's I'm an instructor, professor at Mid-Michigan College in the media program there. And it's not for the money, but just today I was in there and I was sitting down with two. One's a photographer and one's a shooter, videographer, and editor. One of them does fly fishing stuff. Another one does bands. He goes around and tells, shoots photos and covers live concerts. And neither of them are getting much money. They're driving there, they're driving back. So I sat down with them in the middle of class and pulled them to the side, and we just chatted for an hour about how you need to understand your passion is your passion, but if you want it to be your business, you literally have to put value on yourself and your time. So literally in class, he texted the band manager, and now he's making, just on that one text, he said, I'm driving 2 hours one way and 2 hours the back. I'm giving you edited photos and live edits of your concerts. It's worth X. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay.
Yeah.
And that's all he had to understand was like, he's valuable.
Right.
So for me, that is the next phase. That's why this podcast, if people can take something away from it and think, man, that is possible, or man, that story resonates with me, I'm going to take that path. That to me is the whole new phase of my life, is how can I give back from what we've learned and experienced over the last 25 years, and how can we make an impact on somebody positively that's listening on the other line of this.
Yep. I love it. Leads literally into the next question, which is, who's this for? In your mind, who is Wilder Minds? Like, who's it for?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's a twofold answer. One, I think it's for me from a therapy perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Just like you said, that next phase. And I say that not selfishly saying it's for me to grow. I'm saying it's for me because my day from 8 to 6:30 is just ridiculous.
Too many meetings.
And so, and so
you take them all for each of us.
When we can sit down and I can just kind of just let the guard down and drink a Busch Light with my boys and have a good time. So for me, I'm looking forward to that, right? Mm-hmm. I also think it is for the younger generation. I remember saying this back when we started, which is looking up to the OGs in the industry, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember run-ins with Babe Winkleman. I remember like these guys, Keith Warren, these guys that we were like, look, these guys are in it. Somehow the blink of time has happened and we're 25 years into this and have done so much of it. And so not that I'm calling us the OGs, but the knowledge, to your point, that we have and that we've learned along the way, mentoring, and from business to the outdoor industry, like to me, I love doing that stuff. Yeah. I've got several, I would say they're definitely younger than me, guys that are in the industry that call on a consistent basis of just that mentoring style. So I love being able to share that information. So for the younger generation, it's attainable. And so I love telling the stories to be like, it is attainable if you put the work in, right? Yeah. So I think it's for the younger generation. Like we're old, but we're not out of it. We live a wild life. Oh, yeah. Like I don't care how old we are. I mean, we're still getting after it, right? Yeah. And that's what I love is we can share that and resonate with that. So for me,
and maybe along the way for some of that younger generation, if we can eliminate some bumps and bruises and some cuts and some stitches and zippers along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. We've taken our fair share of lumps doing shit the long way or the hard way because that's how we learn.
A good mentor of mine actually said one time, like, if I did it in 10 years, you should do it in 5.
Right.
And if he did it in 5, the next one should do it in 2. Mm-hmm. Right. And so as we look at it, we've done it in 20. So can we provide advice on how to do it? And just this industry in general, outdoors, not hunting, not fish, just outdoors in general. Yeah. If you have a goal that you want to aspire to get to, I think there's just so many openings that I had no idea about at that young age. Right. We didn't know that you could be a marketing director for a hunting company. I would have done that in college a long time ago. I wouldn't have gone through all this stuff. I would have been like, I just want to be that. So knowing all those avenues now, if we can save people 5 years to be like, hey, let's do this just by listening into our stories and advice and the things that we've done, man, I'm willing to share. I'm an open book because, I think some of those people in our lives have been invaluable and some we've got the wrong advice from.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, well, fuck you. But now it's like, all right, we've come over that. Right.
Yep.
So
I think for me, if you're a type of human that wants more, this show's for you.
Yeah.
If you're after more epic, if you're after more laughter, if you're after more fun, if you're after more discipline,
if you're after
more passion, if you're after more in any way, every way, this is going to be a show for you to sit down and listen to because that's what I hope to bring every week. I want ideas. I want all kinds of shit flying around on this thing so that we can all learn and so can everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Fun. Got to have fucking fun, man.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, figure something else out till you are.
Yep.
I mean, yes, there's hard times in any business, but damn, man, when you hit that, when you go out and our boots get muddy, it's fun. Yep. And if you're not having fun while you're out there, then what are you doing it for?
Yep.
Right. So
I agree.
Same with this.
What do you think? Who's this for in your mind?
I mean, I think a lot of it's for me because I'm starting to forget stuff. so to lay these stories out and lock it in, put it in wax. Yeah. As our boy Calhoun says, put it in wax.
Put it in wax.
That for me is just, I've always been a story guy. I have VHS tapes, high 8 tapes. I've got stuff that I wrote down, stories from high school. I don't get rid of anything.
Yeah.
I don't throw anything away. So when I'm dead, you guys can go through my office downstairs in my basement and unlock a whole story about me that you probably never knew about that lives on, well, you do know about it. But
does it involve a crab boat, strippers, in the bottom of the ocean?
Not yet.
Well, and by the way, if you die, I am going into your office because I'm taking everything in there because it's badass down in there. So like, I'm just going to take a bag and a satchel and just throw it all in there because
take as much as you want.
Your office is ridiculous.
But that's what it is. I mean, for me, it's being able to put these stories that are in our heads and being able to just put them out there. And I think for me, it's just like any good story that's locked on a card, for a media card for a camera, until that goes to a hard drive, until that hard drive gets backed up, and until that backed up footage becomes a story and distributed, I can't rest. Yeah. So for me, it's like I have a hard drive full of stories, and we all do. And when those stories can now get let out to the world, it's like a relief almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
It does.
It does.
Absolutely.
I got a story about a hard drive and Yukon when we get to the story part of the podcast, because I'll never forget that as long as I live. Jason and I hiding hard drives all over the Yukon. So
well, we can get there in just a minute. I think right now, if that sounds like something that people want to hear, I would encourage them to subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah, if you're still listening, if you made it this far, subscribe.
If you're still listening, subscribe, because we're going to start this thing, and it's funny because a lot of what we've done in the past, we've kind of sat down and we've tried to map it, and we've tried to plan it, and we've tried to kind of figure out how it's going to go and when it's going to go, and a lot of that comes from dropped, right? Trying to not die when we're out there. This one is like, let's just go, man. Yeah. Let's hit the go button. Let's see where this thing takes us, and let's see what happens. Yeah. So I think it's going to be fun as hell. I'm looking forward to getting into it with you guys, and I'm excited and ready to roll.
Let's do it.
So what's next? What's next on the agenda? Because we haven't talked about this.
Nope.
So here's the wild part.
I haven't talked about it.
We all do podcasts. I do a podcast for Winchester. It's very documented. When a guest comes in, I have all my questions. I have things ready to go. we haven't even really talked much about it other than we're going to sit down and start talking. So that's what I love about it. Yep. The structurally, whatever happens wasn't planned.
So it's almost like we have wilder minds.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think it's great. So our dear social media guru, Amy, she sent a message and said, what are you guys going to be talking about so I can start to, think? And we all wrote back, I don't know. We'll see what happens when we sit down. Yeah. Right? Like that's the whole point.
I think I said whatever happens between now and next Wednesday.
Yeah. So if you're into okay, this is the stories you're going to hear of all the adventures we've been on, but also what's happening in our lives right now. And we're going to come and just bring that to this podcast. And again, I think this is long overdue for what we've been doing for a long time, is just to sit down, the three of us, and get after it. And I'm just so excited to do it. So yeah, I'm excited.
So let's revisit the hard drive.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the hard drive.
Yeah. So he was talking about stories.
Where's the hard drive going?
No. He was talking about stories, and this is great. So we came out of the Yukon one year. Okay.
So let's. We're in the Yukon for 100 days, I felt like.
Yeah.
But I think it was 40.
It was 40 days.
And I got these super high-end, impenetrable, you can throw them 100 yards in the water and drop them from an airplane, and they still work. They're called IO-safe drives. Yeah. They're about $1,000 a piece, and they're 1 terabyte each. Yeah. Imagine that. I mean, that's dating ourselves. That was 12 years ago. Yeah. But we got them because just in case. Yeah. You never know. Yeah. We're split up on rafts, we're split up on horses, whatever that might be. So the fact that you had to document all that and log all that footage every week was a lot of pressure. Yeah. So when we finally got out, and I knew that we had 8 of those IO safe drives, 4 were full and 4 were backups. We split them on the bush planes out. We split them on the horses. We'd split them on the rafts. Yep. We'd split them. Yeah. Because if one plane goes down, well, hell, at least we got the backup
at least
story.
We can make a show.
Yeah, we got a show.
Yeah.
So when we finally got out, the pressure wasn't off because we were about ready to have fun in Dawson City. But those hard drives sat where no one could see them, and we had to make sure we hit them. Yeah.
So he hides them. He hides 4 under a bed, and then another one up here. They're all hidden all over the room.
It was like Easter.
Yeah, it was Easter egg hunt for these hard drives because he didn't want anybody coming in. The maid seeing one, taking one, and he's super
because
protective.
Every maid in Dawson City
looks for
on the lookout for fucking hard drives.
You never know.
First of all, there wasn't a maid in general where we were staying, but just in case they came to replenish our towels. So we proceed that night, coming out after 40 days, to take on the Yukon, Dawson City, with a vengeance. And that was the night that they closed Diamond Tooth Gertie's. Yep. Yeah. And Diamond Tooth Gertie's, if you're not familiar with it, is this throwback to the, what era would that be? You're the historian.
Yeah, when was it? 1898.
1898. Okay. So I just said, what was it? The 20s? He said 1898. So I was completely
off. World War I.
That's why he's a historian on this whole thing.
Late 1800s.
So the late 1800s, it's a throwback, right? You walk through the saloon doors and we have ourselves a night, and the liquor's flowing. Well, we haven't eaten in 38 of those 40 days. So we're wispy and hungry, and it's like, and the first drink hits, and I'm going to tell you, that hit hard. It was a Tito's and soda, hit hard. The second one hit even more hard. So then we find ourselves really.
Was that before or after Cape Pavel?
That was after. This is after that.
Okay.
So this is the night that we played football.
Yes.
So we go in the thoroughfare because
not a football though.
First of all, back up. Dawson City has mud streets.
Yes, it's not. It's a deadwood thoroughfare. It's where you'd imagine horses just going through the middle of it, like back in the old Western times.
Coolest town in the world.
Saloon doors, the whole thing, right? So we come out of Diamond Tooth Gertie's. The town is happy. Everybody's excited because it just happened. They're closing up for the winter, and we started. I don't know if we were tackling each other in the mud, and then somehow we ended up with a plastic bag that we put mud in and used as a football. Which why wouldn't you?
I mean, of course you do that.
So it's the three of us and Jameson at the time. Yeah. And Jameson Crasty is our other field producer on that. And we play football. Well, we're covered in mud. We're shit-faced. We're having a great time. But we go back to the room, and this is what I always remember, is we go back to the room when I finally made it to the room. And this gal knocks on the door. I don't remember.
She wasn't
this
a maid,
part.
I guess. No. There was a maid, maybe.
No,
it was a guy.
Well, this is the best part is there was a gal then, but Jason and I didn't remember the gal. Then a guy knocks on the door, and then we're like, okay, we open the door. I do remember this. The guy says, "This is the last time I'm coming up here. You guys have got to quiet down." And Jason and I are both staring at him. We go, "You've been here before?" Like, I didn't even know you were here.
I was shocked.
He was like, "I've been here." He's like, "I've been here twice." And we're like, "Get out of here." I didn't believe him. I thought he was messing with us.
I still think he's lying. I think he might have went, I don't know.
I thought he was messing with us, but I don't remember him coming other than one time.
Yeah.
But as soon as that guy came, then Jason's like, "The hard drives. I got to make sure the hard drives."
He's after the drives.
He's after the drives.
This is before like the tags you could put in there, like the Apple tags.
Yeah.
So if I had those back then, I literally would have welded one of those to each. But I hit him wild.
But he hit him so wild in the room that now we're buzzed up. He can't remember where he hit him in the room.
I started panicking. Because this is
saying
big digits if we lose these drives.
Someone stole the hard drives. And I'm like, oh my God. So we can only find so many of them. And then we're like, they got to be in here. They got to be in here. Well, eventually we woke up covered in mud the next day, and he remembered his Easter egg hunt and was like, "Oh no, never mind. There's one here. And we were able to collect the drives. But that night we were sure that someone came in and stole the drives, and there was only like 2 of the 8 or whatever that were left.
Yeah, but in the morning I was sure somebody got murdered because I woke up in my nice white sheets. There's blood everywhere. I'm like, where did this blood come from? I mean, all over my head area, in my pillow, and I'm thinking, this is like a hangover. I'm going to wake up and all this shit happened last night, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Well, I look at my knuckles. I'm like, did I drag my knuckles on the gravel all the way to the apartment? There's blood all over my hands. Then I started thinking back, kind of like hangover, where you're like, oh God, damn it, we did play tackle football in the street last night.
Yeah.
So apparently I went all out and
got your hand caught.
I don't know, but
so he cuts his hand. He gets up. He's like, "Oh, did we murder someone last night?" I'm like, "I don't know. Could it be? I mean, check the bathroom." I was like, "What happened?" But then we put all the pieces together.
And
we got
out of there and
got the hard drives
the next day and
love it.
Back home.
Love it. I think if there was the unlikeliest thing in the unlikeliest place, it would be hard drives to get stolen in Dawson City.
That's true.
That's probably a good point.
That is a
but
good
I like
point.
your dedication to the craft. You got it. Without those hard drives,
we have nothing.
We have nothing.
And
we
probably
this right here.
We probably go bankrupt.
We just tell people.
That's how much that meant at the time.
We would just tell people like, it was a great hunt. It was cool.
Yeah.
We rode horses.
We'd write about it in our journals later.
Yeah. Casper the friendly ghost.
It's stressful, guys. It's stressful.
Yeah. Oh, what a story. I love it.
We've had stories like that though across the bush, and I think that's part of this podcast, right? Is just letting a peek behind the scenes. You see what we did for 40 days. We filmed. We were all over the place. We were, putting that show together, and that's a lot of work. But the unwinding stories and like the stuff coming out and all the things that have happened to us either before we went in or after we came out or that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what I'm excited to share with like our audience and, you know, the people that listen to our stuff. It's going to be fun to tell those stories.
Well, and just that little journey right there alone, that little trip, we still got to talk about dead guys' toes.
Yeah.
We still got to talk about the man with the greatest pizza in the world.
Yeah.
Which we had no idea existed. I mean, there's so, in a random alleyway. I mean, there's so many things about that we'll get into over time. So yeah, that's going to be pretty exciting. I sent Amy a text. This will be interesting. So I sent Amy a text this morning. I said, shout out to Cannon.
Yeah.
What are 3 things you want to hear us talk about randomly on the podcast? And so she sent me 3 ideas. You guys want to get into one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. What do you got?
Sure. Well, it depends. But yeah, let's do it.
So let's start with, you guys know who Armie Hammer is?
Yeah.
He's an actor. You
He's
guys
in
know who this guy is?
Facebook or that social network he was in.
Let me get you a little further
He's
down
one of the brothers.
The twins?
Yeah, one of the twins in the social network.
The Winkle?
Winkle, fine? Winkle?
Yeah, that's it. Van Winkle? Van Hinkle?
Winkle
The Winkle brothers?
Winkle Boss.
Winkle. There we go. Nailed it.
So he's an actor. I don't know that he plays that guy, but maybe he does. I'll get you a little further on down the road. He's an actor who's been accused of wanting to be a cannibal.
Oh, cannibal
you guys
guy.
Familiar with this story
now?
How'd he do that?
Yes.
I don't know. Apparently,
girlfriend was not into him. Like he threatened some stuff.
Yeah.
Like he got in trouble for it.
Apparently he like started talking about I'm a cannibal or want to be a cannibal or blah blah blah. So this guy's taking some arrows.
Who doesn't?
He's taking plenty of heat. But there's a story that just came out that's kind of crazy. Somebody was talking to him. He was on a podcast, and he brought up the fact that like the only thing that he's ever done that could be considered anything near being a cannibal was he took a bite out of a heart of an animal that he shot on a hunt, and people are just like
up in arms about that,
like going crazy that he ate the heart. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why would you waste the heart?
Yeah,
like why wouldn't you eat the heart?
Yeah.
So
I can name 10 people that I know did that. Hunters.
Yeah, right? And so that's what he goes into. And so he talks about this rite of passage. When he went hunting for the first time, it was a rite of passage to have the heart and the whole 9 yards. So I just want to chat about the rite of passage for a second, because that's something I think all of us as hunters, or anybody out there who's a hunter, has done in some way, shape, or form, has been part of that kind of rite of passage, right? Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't condone eating a human heart or a cannibal, but let's make sure we get that clear. But as far as hunting and then taking an animal and then eating the heart, that's absolutely a rite of passage. I mean, I've heard of that for a long time. I mean, hell, we had donut steaks in the Yukon, which was heart steaks or heart donuts or whatever, where we've actually had the heart. It's a delicious organ. That's going far, but it's a little on the gamey side. It's usable. Yeah. It's in a pinch it'll do, but it is a rite of passage. Absolutely, taking a bite of the heart.
So the heart, back in Beaverton, my small town, Cindy Woodruff, she would have pickled deer heart. So she'd take the deer heart and she'd slice it and then pickle it and put it in a jar, and you'd eat it and it'd be great. And for other people, it might be a shock to hear that that don't hunt and take meat home and put it in the freezer. I mean, it's a kind of a different way to think about it, I guess.
So that's what I started trying to figure out to myself, like, why is everyone like really shocked by this? You think it's just because of the actual organ?
Yeah.
Because people eat liver. Like if it was, I took a bite of liver, people would have been like, whatever.
Did he, was it raw?
Like I didn't get that far.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it was right out and like an apple, I mean, that's.
If you're just kind of ripping it out, it depends on how he does it, right? He rips it out and just takes a bite. Probably leads to cannibalism, which leads him to really having some troubles.
Yeah.
But if he basically could just, he got it out, they went back, they cooked it, they paid respect to the animal, that's a rite of passage. That I can completely understand. But I mean, if you're just killing something and just going up and werewolfing the son of a bitch, you're in trouble. Yeah. Like, you got some problems.
So when you talk about rite of passage in the woods, hunting, a lot of people, take the blood and put it under the eyes. The rite of passage when I grew up, so the guy who taught us how to hunt is like a second father for me, Bob Woodruff. You guys have met Bob. He taught us how to gut a deer. When you field dress a deer out there, and he taught us the right way, and you took the time, but that was the rite of passage, is when you gut your own deer. That is what, at that point, you've earned your way as a quote hunter.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that was part of it for me. When I think of rite of passage in hunting, whitetails anyway, it was gutting your own deer for the first time.
That's exactly what it was for me. Yeah. It was if you're now taking part in this and you're going to hunt an animal, then you're going to take care of everything afterwards.
Yep.
So we did. I got the blood under the eyes, the whole 9 yards there. But then it was drag it, gut it, skin it, cape it, quarter it, like
package it, freeze it, eat it,
the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yep. And rightfully so. I mean, I've done that. I did that with my own son, Ryder. You know, Gunner's going to start this year with turkey, but I did the exact same thing with Ryder. And it's like, if this is what you're going to do, then you owe it to the animal. Let's see it all the way through here.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. I mean, it's just, if you're gonna take the animal, then now it's time to partake in the rest of it.
Yep.
So you gotta do all that. So.
I remember the first time I'll never forget walking up to that first one, and I went a little deep with the blade, got into the belly, stomach, in that it was like a demon was coming out. No. Scared the ever living shit out of me. And I remember I jumped back off that. I was, 12 or 13 at the time, and Bob was waiting for it. He said, "Don't go too deep with that blade." You know, the old buck knife.
You went straight in.
Yeah. Went a little deep. I went. My angle was a little. Yeah. The pitch was deep, and went in there, and she let out a whistle. And I jumped off that like it was a Bronco. Boom. And he laughed, but I don't go deep anymore.
Yep.
Learned it right away.
There you go.
I still think I'm designated gut guy right now. I think I've caped and skinned or gutted like 90% of the deer, but I do.
Usually cape mine.
I love it though.
Because I know you love it.
Yeah, I do. I do. It's a peaceful time for me. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. I mean, maybe you guys have the same thing. There's, caping a deer for me in the skinning shed that next day. Cup of coffee, sharp knife, cold day, you're in the barn, you're telling the stories around it. And so there's like a peaceful moment for me. And then, you're butchering everything up, caping it all the way off. And then of course all the heads, I end up doing all those because of the experience I've had with all that, which is great. But like, again, it's a peaceful moment. Like even in Alaska on a gravel bar, caping out the moose and sitting there that next morning with that cup of coffee that's just made on the fire. I love that moment. And it's just it's solitude, so I absolutely love that part of it.
I think on drop, that's the first time your mind actually starts to rest a little bit.
It does.
You're in that survival mode nonstop. And so it's like, everything just kind of calms down. We've done, if we had to put a number on it, hundreds, thousands
I'd say thousands
of deer. And if you look at our knuckles, we have a rule that we used to skin and gut together and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And occasionally you're not really paying attention and you nick a guy. And the whole thing was if you cut someone, the other guy gets to cut you back. Yeah. And so we've had some sword fights.
Oh, yeah. We've had a lot of those, no doubt.
A couple of reach over and like, you nicked me.
You cut me, I cut you.
Like, damn.
Cut me, I'll cut you. I thought Casey hit me one time when we were skinning each other, but it ended up being the meat hook. I pulled the hide down, and I thought he clocked me, and it came down. The meat hook came down. I got 4 staples in my head and on the top there.
He gave the hide roll, and he pulled straight down, and it jumped the track. Hit him in the head. He turned and looked at me, and he said, "What the fuck did you do that for?" And then he went,
I just passed out. I hit the ground. He's like, "You're bleeding."
I was so confused.
And I got all these staples in my head. Meat skinning accidents. Of course, I'm hard on shit, so I get a lot of accidents and cuts. But I've been cut back too, lots.
Yeah, I like for me, it's when you get home and all that meat's home, and you get to process it. You get to put it in the package, vacuum seal it, write the date, where it's from, put it in the freezer. Like, I love doing that. Like, cleaning it up, making sure it's pristine. And so, when you open that, cut that package open, it's like, you put it on the grill or wherever you're going to put it, and it's ready to rip.
Well, and when friends come over that don't hunt but love venison, nothing better.
Nothing.
Well, I got Ohio buck. I got this. I got this buck, and pull it out and marinate it all up. And when they're like, "This is the best," and you're like, "Yeah, that's some wild game for you." Like that's exciting because they don't get it. They love it, but they don't get to hunt it, right? So then when you can provide that, then it's like, man, this is really cool.
Well, it's like we were just in Vegas. We went out there for SHOT Show. We were just out there, and Vegas. All the restaurants, you get high-end restaurants in all these hotels. We went into one restaurant. They had like a 6-ounce venison steak, and it was like $180. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah,
I mean,
they got a bunch of free ones back in the freezer.
Yeah, right. Unreal. What'd you guys think of SHOT?
Man, I'll tell you what, these trade shows these days are interesting. SHOT I thought was really good. I mean, I think that the tactical community and the shooting community is growing. So that's exciting to see. I think that you're seeing a lot of growth in that area. The show's getting bigger and bigger, no doubt. But it's so saturated with, the tactical stuff and the things like that, which I like looking at and enjoying, but I have no use for a, a bulletproof vest with all the different stuff. Like I just, at this point, hopefully I don't have a use for it. So I don't know. I thought it was good. I think some of these other trade shows are suffering. I think there's a lot going on in some of these other ones. But it used to be the place, right? It used to be in the industry between that and the ATA show. Like you caught up with everybody, you had your beers, your drinks, you met with your partners, and it just seems to like now it's spread out. You've got SCI's making a big comeback from being in Nashville, I think is awesome. The Western Expo is growing 10 times over again. And so it's just interesting in general. I enjoy going to SHOT. Vegas is just like, here it comes, and you get through the 5 days or whatever, 4 days you're there, and but it's always good to catch up with people.
Yeah, it's good to catch up. I think a lot of it's changed. I think, back in the middle, like the 2008 to 2018, those 10 years, it was the boom of outdoor television. And I think they had the Golden Moose Awards, they had the Sportsman Channel Awards. There were hundreds and hundreds of producers and editors, shooters, people in the media community that would come out there for those award shows. And I think for us, again, we had meetings with partners and stuff, but that was kind of the cherry on top going out to the SHOT Show, is sharing, other producer successes and hosts. And, it's talking industry talk. And I think it might have been 2020 when I think they did away with the Golden Moose Awards. And it's understandable. I mean, it was a big expense. I know it was, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm sure. I mean, they'd have Zach Brown. They had Blake Shelton.
Uncle Ted.
They've had Big and Rich, Uncle Ted. That would be the featured acts for, 500, 600, 800 people. But it's changed, the way things, everything's changed a little bit. But I will say this, the week after, 2 weeks after SHOT, I went to NWTF.
Oh yeah, that's another one that's booming.
So at SHOT, 60,000 people go through that door. At NWTF this year, 82,000. 82,000 came in that. And it's a 10th the size, a 20th of the size of SHOT Show. So it is so packed with people. The energy is crazy. And I think what I get out of it is, there's a youth movement, in my opinion, with turkey hunters and waterfowl hunters. I think there's an energy when you go to those shows, and they're consumer shows too, right? They're not just industry shows, so there's a different vibe. But the amount of young people that are walking those aisles with, apparel, hats, every different kind of hat that you could think of, with turkey calls, and there's so many different companies now, but there's a youth movement happening. And I'll say this too, Mossy Oak has done a really good job at kind of becoming relevant, not relevant again, but there's like a resurgence in their brand because of some of the stuff that Jason Hart's done. And we've worked with Jason Hart before when he was with Hook. And he kind of did some things with Mossy Oak. That booth is insane. It is. There's hundreds of people in that booth, and now it's growing every year. So it's just interesting to see. The NWTF show is a little more southern. It's more of that southern, southern states. The people that hunt kind of in the south. There's not a ton of northern influence down there, but it's wild. It's awesome.
That's kind of why I asked the question, because I'm trying to, and I always try to do this, just get a beat on where we are in the hunting industry in general, right? Because it ebbs and flows, ups and downs. It goes through all of those things, but I can't help but feel like right now there is just a resurgence or a renewed energy behind the lifestyle that we've always lived. I think there's a lot of people starting to turn their attention to like, wait, I could do that. You know what I mean? I could go I could go experience all this epic adventure. I can eat clean meat. I can get healthy. I can do this with my family. There's so many things about just the hunting lifestyle in general, and fishing for that matter, that I feel like right now there's an energy behind it. Shot is shot. It's a hunting, or it's more of a shooting tactical show. Yeah. But to your point, like an NWTF, those consumer shows, and I heard the same NRA out in Harrisburg. Yeah. That show this year was absolutely through. Yeah,
SCI was crazy.
Through the roof. Yeah. Through the roof. So there's people, I think, turning their attention to the lifestyle that we've been fortunate enough to live for the last.
Well, that's good. I mean, the takeaway, like those shows with consumers, like you said earlier, that are like they're driving to go to those shows. That's good. Yeah. Right. I think what's changing in our industry are these brand, like the company shows, right? Where you used to go and write like that as a company, you went to ATA and you wrote orders at ATA. Yep. I think the landscape of digital's changed that. I think the landscape of the connectivity, right? Exactly. Like the ability for someone to launch a bow in October and then basically send everything out, have a complete back end so you can learn everything, put a video on a back end and then you never have to have the expense to go, has changed the landscape of this B2B stuff that's happening between these small pro shops and people that want to buy. So that's, but the consumer side, like the uptick, I'm seeing the same thing. I mean, you look online and it's like, man, you start putting 82,000 people through the Grand Ole Opry, all there for turkeys and waterfowl. That's incredible. Yep. I mean, that is a huge, and I think where it's at has a lot to do with it too, because people want to go enjoy the show and then go out somewhere, right? Yeah. And go downtown. And that used to be the case with the ATA show, is like the Circle Bar at whatever hotel you were at was the place. Yep. And you can walk through there. Casey and I went down there for the first time last year or the year before. And I mean, we could have put our arms out and walked right through the middle. And it's a shame to see that from a business side, but man, the consumer side is just jumping off, which is great.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at the people that, aren't scared to come out and talk about how they hunt and fish and live a lifestyle nowadays. I mean, we start talking about people like Kristi Noem, former governor. Yeah. Now Homeland Security head,
Madam Secretary.
Yeah. Doug Burgum. Yeah. I just watched a thing with him the other day. He, in his office in DC now, he's got a giant elk hanging there. He's got all this stuff from North Dakota. So, I mean, you're starting to see people, really kind of lean into the lifestyle, and people that are in really visible positions. Yeah. Right. And so I can't help but think that that's also got to have something to do with it.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's good.
Wherever your adventure takes you, count on Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's to make it memorable. From the timberline to the campsites to the lake and the range, get your family outfitted with the right gear. With premium brands like Worldwide Sportsman, Ascend, Instinct, Redhead, and Natural Reflections, they've got the apparel and the gear to make it the best adventure ever. Stop by today for a one-of-a-kind shopping experience in-store or online at BassPro.com and Cabela's.com. See for yourself at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores. Your adventure starts here. All right, let's talk about beer for a second. You ever notice there's a big difference between Busch Light drinkers and other beer drinkers? I like to say we live on the wild side. A guy with a Busch Light in his hand, he's a man of the people. He's out there in the wild every day. He's in the trenches smashing bushies with a smile on his face. You know why? Because he doesn't care. He's not looking for a soulmate. He just needs something to wash that damn jerky down. And he's got himself a 12-pack of Freedom in a can. And when that can gets cracked, it's like opening a door to a whole different world. It's just a vibe. And if you haven't felt it, you should. So go grab yourself a case of bushies, give them a rip, and take a walk on the wild side. You've got things that matter. Memories, heirlooms, documents, firearms. And we all know that life is unpredictable. At Winchester Safes, they make sure life's unpredictable moments don't take those things from you. They use state-of-the-art methods that refuse to sacrifice quality. They put everything they have into their products, offering proven protection and peace of mind. There's only one safe company worthy of the title the American legend, and that's Winchester Safes. Follow at Winchester Safes or learn more on winchestersafes.com. Let's talk about mountain ops. a brand that I rely on to fuel my fire in more ways than one. I could sit here and talk about how undeniably essential Ignite is to my daily life. I could explain the benefits of the super greens, and I could ponder out loud how they got those super greens and super reds, for that matter, to taste so damn good. Or I could just give you a quick look into who they are as a company, because to me that matters more than anything. So here it is. They recognize God and acknowledge His hand in all things. They believe in being worthy of others' trust. They're reliable and honest with their information. And lastly, they take full and personal responsibility for their actions and the outcomes. There you have it. If you want to learn more about Mountain Ops and stay connected, check them out on social media at Mountain Ops, or head on over to their website, mountainops.com. And remember, if you want to save some cash, use code Keefer. So touching back on the whole connectivity thing, right? Yep. There's this new deal in the hunting space, relatively new. It's going on everywhere right now, but starting to see it kind of invade into some hunting. AI trail cameras. What do you guys think about this whole AI trail camera thing? It's crazy to me because we were involved with an AI trail camera project going back probably 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, for sure.
That still hasn't come to fruition. We can dive into that a little bit. But I just want to know in general, AI is the big buzz right now, and we're starting to see it come into our world a little bit from hunting and fishing. So what do you guys think?
I've got mixed emotions on it. I think that it's inevitable. I think that we have to embrace it. It's the new norm. I mean, AI has taken everything by storm, and if using correctly, it is a benefit, right? And there's times that I use it for sure. I think getting into the hunting industry, it's an interesting thing because you don't want to get too far away from what hunting is in general, as far as like the heritage of it, right? Yep. And I think if we can keep the heritage of hunting in place, the camps, the camaraderie, the conservation, the ethic, what is it? Ethnic? It's not ethnic. What is it? Ethical?
Ethical, yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Is that the actual word? Yeah. The ethics behind
ethics.
it. Yeah. I thought there was going to be some really long and different version of that. There isn't. No. The ethics behind it. If you can keep that stuff intact while moving technology forward, right? So you look at something like we both shoot a Garmin Zero. All three of us shoot a Garmin Zero. I think that is an incredible advancement in technology that has saved so many wounded animals, in my opinion, right? But it's an advancement. So when you look at AI and trail cameras, I think it's only going to advance to a point where it's so it's going to get to like the minutia details are incredible. So I'm all for it. I think it's really an interesting topic, but trail cameras in general right now have changed the game.
I mean, just cell cameras alone, the ability for us to stay out of a place and to get, reports back of what's in there on a scrape, who's hitting it, what their patterns are. I mean, so I've always thought the more that you can have something to talk about with your family, your kids, whatever it is, if it's AI cameras or whatever, it's all about the experience and whatever it takes to get more hunters out there and interested in it. So let me ask you this. What AI cameras are we talking about here? I don't know any details about it.
So they've got
I mean, seriously,
that is a conversation with the three of us.
They've got cameras now that full on like cell camera stuff that'll detect the animal and then only send you certain stuff, all that kind of stuff. So, trail cameras, what it comes down to on trail cameras is intel, right? I don't think there's anything out there in this entire sport that has ever given you the amount of intel that a trail camera can give you. But I only raise the question because, like I said, now we're just starting to see AI with it, right? Yeah. And so that AI, and by the way, the AI isn't overnight. Like when we were involved with that original project, which, I don't know if it's still in skunkworks phase or what's going on there, but we were going to go up into the Rockies and we were trying to get I think we were shooting for 100,000 images of Rocky Mountain goats.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Because that's what it would take to train, an AI camera. So the amount of just effort and energy that goes into that is insane. And so I'm curious because now you get people saying, well, holy crap, man, if AI is coming into trail cameras, because cell cameras have had enough flack. Yep. You start looking at states that are, now they're saying, they might be an invasion of privacy because someone could walk by the camera and not know that the picture's taken. And all this shit.
Shouldn't be there.
Yeah, all right.
If it's private.
Yeah,
I know you're there. You're in trouble.
So there's all these things with this camera and AI and cell and everything. So it's an interesting topic to me. We'll see where it goes.
I'll say this though. There are two facets of AI technology. We had always talked about if there's an AI app or software that could literally just find the bucks. I mean, you know how many thousands of pictures you can go through on one card, and you're just hitting arrow, arrow. Obviously, with cell cams, you can do all that reporting live, but there's still some stuff that we use that's old school cameras that we have to go through cards and stuff. But the ability to go through that stuff and detect antlers was always something that I thought would be super
quickly
key.
Filter. Boom.
Quickly filter. But then on the same hand, how much do we learn from the non-buck images?
Exactly.
How much do we learn from the doe? How much do we learn
100%.
from the small deer, the patterns? So, you know, when we look at these, and that's part of it too with the cell cam stuff, sometimes you filter past all that other information and then you just look at the deer, when really I think back to the old days when we would take a card out of a camera and you'd start on October 13th and you go to October 31st, there's a progression in activity, the way they acted. And you kind of got to feel it's a storyline.
It's a story.
Of that camera for 2 weeks. And it was the pre-rut kicks in and then the rut. And then, so again, I think you get a feel for your ground and your area if you can just dive in and do that maybe a little old school, you know?
Like I said, I just raised the question because I think AI right now is going to invade every area of our lives.
For sure.
Whether we want it to or not.
I agree.
And so as hunters, how do we use it for good? How is it not used for good? I think that's going to be fascinating to watch unfold.
I agree. I think there's a crowd out there that are so hung up on trail cameras that they get lost in it. Like for us, I know we use them, no doubt, and we have the reveal and they're amazing. And I wouldn't have been able to kill the deer that I killed this year without knowing the pattern of rip and learning from where he was at. No question. But I think some people get hung up on it too much. And I think the advancement of AI, like you said, for the young generation coming in, you've got to learn how to pattern a deer anyway. Not just I hung this up, $6 are on it, and that you're missing a whole story of deer hunting in general and learning these deer. Like, why should they be running this ridge? What's going on in the rut with these does and these fawns? So I think that it's the greatest technological advancement, in my opinion, in hunting in a long time. It can be used for the good, but there is a part of the heritage that you lose when AI comes in.
Yep.
Right? So that's just my thing is use it because it's a tool and it's there for you and it's going to better it. But man, don't lose sight of the fact that just some good old scouting on the ground is really good to do.
I'll make a correlation. That's a good point. I'll make a correlation to this, and this is dating myself, but when I was going through my degree in broadcast journalism, we had one of the very first Avid systems in the state of Michigan, which is a nonlinear computer-based editing system. But I had to learn how to edit with tape to tape, with reel to reel, or film, actual film. So you would have a device, you'd cut, you'd tape, and you'd look at them through a glass, and you'd figure out through an eyeglass, and you'd figure out where you wanted to make your cuts. And you would literally have, when they say, you know, when you cut out sections and you throw it on the floor.
Cutting room floor.
That's where all those, there's so much terminology that come from the old days. But then you had to progress into, now you have to do tape to tape editing. So then you'd learn how to tape to tape edit on a VHS tape. Then finally you progressed up to nonlinear editing on a computer based system. And then you appreciated and understood why it was there. Right. And I think there is something to the young hunters being able to learn all the details, not just where the bucks are and when they're there, but to figure out why they're there, how frequently they're there, how many other deer go through there before that buck comes through. So just a lot of those little details.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what this stuff is going to do yet, or what people, more importantly, are going to try to do with it. Yeah. It's going to be wild.
I agree. We haven't scratched the surface. I do agree, though, that Jason absolutely dated himself by saying he cut film and put it on the floor.
Absolutely.
Like that.
That was 1996.
Yeah.
So for context, my senior year in high school, I was working on digital cameras already.
Oh, man.
But in that vein, we felt like we were cheating. Yeah. Because you didn't have to adjust your lighting, you didn't have to adjust exposure, aperture. Like it was like
I didn't trust it.
Press the button down and it would set your lighting and your focus and you take the picture and we're like, I don't know.
Trust it.
I don't know if I like this or not.
I want to put it in my pocket and take it in to get it developed.
But I felt like
get doubles and have half of them not turn out.
I also felt like less of a photographer though.
Yeah.
Because you're like, God, this is easy. Like, I feel like I shouldn't.
Those click point and shoots, let's be honest, there's a whole trend of the young kids out there today, right? My daughter being one of them that does the dispo dump, which is a disposable camera dump. They went in there. I swear, I learned these cameras are $35 a piece for these disposable cameras, and they don't get it back for a month.
Oh, wow.
At the end of the day, that was our camera. It was 1 hour. Like, you went in and bought like 6 of them for like $6.
Photo hut.
Yeah. And you'd go down to the photo hut, man. You'd be like, doubles, I got to give some to my friends, right?
Yep.
And you'd roll out in an hour, you get like a cheeseburger, go back and be like, got my doubles, and you're off to the races. But they take like these pictures with the disposables. I love it. I think it's so funny. She's like, I need another one. I'm like, for $35, you can use your phone. Like, what are we doing here? And it's like, no, you get a certain look. And I'm like, yeah, it's called a photo.
Yeah.
A real photo.
I'll put these two stories together. This is how old I am. So taking them to the overnight 1 hour film lab, right?
Yeah.
You go to Walgreens or wherever your
Fuji
pharmacy store was closest to you. I think I got the very first stealth cam that was digital. Not digital, I'm sorry. Very first stealth cam that was film.
Yeah.
Put it on a tree. I knew I was going to get it. Was on a scrape. Yeah. I knew I was going to get that 6-point I've been chasing. And that's all there was in the property that I was hunting. I was, I think, 18 years old or 19 years old. Threw that baby up there and went there 3 days later. All the film's done. I look in there, boom. It rewound. I pulled it out, put a new one in, shot over to the 1 hour photo. Paid double to get doubles. I knew there was going to be all sorts of bucks on this camera, right? Like, I knew it. And, man, I get in the truck. I didn't even I opened it, sat down, didn't even put my seatbelt on. I'm going through all the photos, and I'm like, there's a couple with trees in it. And I'm just getting going, though. You know, it's just getting ready. Another tree, the same branch blew 36 times. I paid $25 to see a branch blow in the wind. And I'm like, this is not fun. Yeah. This is not what I expected.
I thought you were going to say Woody's ass was on it, too.
No, that's a different story.
Yeah. You might have been able to capture pictures with those cameras, but the trigger speed wasn't exactly up to par.
It wasn't
like
heat.
Today.
It was motion oriented. Anything moving, there's no heat signature.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff.
No, it was so bad.
But
it was fun, and it was Christmas morning every time you check those cameras. Still is to
so
this
I put
day.
them on field edges from there on out.
Yeah, no
just straight up.
No more branches. Well, you know, the fact that the youngsters are using the old gear, maybe there's hope that this doesn't take over the world.
I love it.
That AI doesn't necessarily take over everything for
for sure. For some of us, the hunt never stops. Grizzly understands that more than most. Rugged, reliable, and built to never back down. Whether you're on the trail, by the water, or deep in the dark timber, Grizzly is by your side. Tough enough to take on the wild and ready for whatever you can throw. Grizzly is committed to products that never let you down. Always on the hunt with Grizzly.
Out here in the wild, precision isn't just a luxury. It's a necessity. Leupold Optics is built on the foundation of American craftsmanship, where every features function first. For over a century now, they've combined dedication and technology with a relentless put-it-to-the-test attitude, creating optics that stand up when everything else stands down. When it matters most, you need the best. That's what you get with Leupold Optics. While other companies out there warranty failure, Leupold guarantees performance for life.
Some call it out on the trail. I like to call it the road less traveled. The kind of place where the going gets tough. That's where Tracker Off-Road comes in. Made for those who won't back down. Tracker Off-Road delivers the hardest working machines with the greatest capability at the strongest value in the industry. Built by those who know what it takes and designed for those who don't turn back. Tracker is dedicated to delivering machines that let you get the most out of your day and your dollar. Ready to take on your next adventure? Go with Tracker Off-Road.
Every shot counts. And when it's time to make it count, you want the best. Winchester Ammunition has built its legacy on a commitment to innovation by continuously pushing what's possible. In the heartland of America, The American legend crafts ammunition that's purpose-built, reliable, accurate, and ready to perform no matter how harsh the conditions. Whether you're hunting or shooting for sport, Winchester will be there.
All right, boys. Well, we're shooting for about an hour with each one of these episodes. I think we're approaching the hour-long mark. So I think more or less today we just wanted to give everybody a little bit of a taste of what this is in our minds collectively, what each one of us hopes to give with this thing, get with this thing, and we'll move on and, hopefully crank out episode 2 here pretty quick. But before we do, any last things that you want to add on? And also one topic leading into next episode that you guys think you want to talk about.
All right. So first and foremost, if you made it this far in, thanks, subscribe, because we got a lot of stories coming. This has been a long time coming for us to sit down and tell these stories, and we promise to make it worth it. We've got stories from all over the world, from chasing gold in the top of Mount Roraima to shooting big bucks this year in Ohio. So we're excited to share all that stuff with you. So thanks for listening to the Wilder Minds podcast. And next week, I want to talk about, even though it's probably going to be irrelevant at the time that this comes out, Four Nations ice hockey and the tournament that just came out and what just went down in the world of sports. You're going to hear some more sports as we go forward, but I'm telling you, that was the most incredible tournament. So I'm excited to talk about some of that stuff and what's going on with the professional sports.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're sports guys. Full Swing got kicked off.
Full Swing is open.
Full Swing on Netflix. It's the season 3 of really the behind the scenes of the PGA Tour and all the golfers there.
Yeah.
We're a golf family. I met my wife on a golf course. Both my boys play golf. We love golf. It's part of us. It's part of my family. So we watched 3 episodes last night.
Yep.
I'm sure I'm going to be watching the rest of them tonight.
Yeah.
And so I want to chat a little bit about the production, the way they shoot that, the way they make it so compelling, and just some of the stories from that I want to chat about next week.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, the Four Nations Cup, I'm going to throw this out there right now. That was the greatest beginning of a hockey game in the history of our sport.
May never be topped ever again. I don't know if it could be. It was incredible.
And if
Fights, you're talking the fights.
Yeah. If you've been living in a cave and you don't know what we're talking about, you got to look it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally the greatest beginning. I don't know how you come out of the gate any hotter than that, any better than that.
There was something different about them wearing that USA on their crest and Canada, and it was more than a hockey tournament, and they made it that, and it was incredible.
Yep. That's exactly right. And the best part about it is it grew the game.
Everybody was watching those clips.
Highest ratings of any NHL ever in the 9.9 or close to 10 million
10, I think,
people, which for NHL, a game, highest ever, any hockey game ever. And it just shows you how much they grew the sport in a 7-day span.
I don't know if it was planned.
I mean, there's people watching hockey. I posted something I thought was so funny. That's a lady watching hockey. Like,
I saw
I
that.
died. She literally made me cry.
Fan.
Oh my God, she was hysterical. I mean, that kind of stuff was coming out left and right, and they meant it. They're like, man, I didn't even know hockey was like this. So to see that game grow, I know it's near and dear to us, and so we'll get more into the sports side for sure as we go forward, because I think we all have opinions on what's happening in that space.
The best part about that entire speech is when she said, "Oh, there's some people I'd love to play hockey." I was like, I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it was
it.
good. Yeah,
oh, that's because we've all been there. We've all thought it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been good, guys. Like I said, 1 hour is what we were shooting for this first one. We sat down, we shot the shit, filled people in.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to kicking off the next one.
We're just getting started.
You want to tell everybody where they can find this stuff?
If you guys want to follow along on all the adventures, go to Instagram at Keefer Brothers, YouTube. We're putting out lots of new episodes all the time. As this continues to go forward, we're going to talk about another big project, of course, again, setting the goals and then just setting the goals higher. So a lot of really cool stuff coming up, but follow us on Instagram. We all have our own individual accounts as well, and make sure you follow us at Keefer Brothers and check out the website. Lots of cool stuff coming up. So
any last words?
I'm looking forward to next Wednesday. We shoot them on Wednesday afternoons, by the way. That's so if you're in town and it's Wednesday between 3 and 5, swing on in, have a bush light with us.
Yeah, come on
Crack
in.
one, pull up a stool, and be part of the show.
Yeah,
there we go.
Let's do it.
Come by and see us. First episode of Wilder Minds in the books, boys. That's it.
That's it.
All she wrote.
Right on.
Answer the call.
Mama say it's a new day song.